Hey, Chris.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. How's it going?
That's okay. It's going good. How are you?
Just getting my daily dose.
Did you get your COVID test?
I haven't gotten the results back.
You feeling any better?
I'm much better than I was yesterday. I was a mess yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Hi, Brandon.
let's see. You're muted, bud.
Yeah, I got it. I know. So, were we supposed to be here early, probably as a panelist?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's always good to show up a bit early.
I mean, I figured like, oh, I'm probably running late already. I just finished up eating something real quick. But here, give me a minute, and then I'm all yours.
Yeah, do what you got to do, bud.
Thanks,
I'm pulling up the presentation right now. This one. Yeah. Oh shoot.
I'm sorry, Chris. I was trying to get dinner in the oven and get everything cleaned up before this starts. Am I supposed to upload the presentation, or do you share that?
No, I can take care of it on my end.
Okay, cool.
At least last time I was able to. I'll find out here in a second.
Yeah, why don't you could try and go ahead and share, and if I need to make you the host, I can do that.
Yep, I can share screens.
Okay.
So let's make sure that I can share.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Edit link. Text.
Chris.
Brandon,
Yes.
question for you.
Yes, I had something too, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Whenever I'm sharing my screen like this, do you see the Zoom controls at the top?
If I like scroll up there, I do, but if I don't, then they go away after a second. Like it goes back to full screen.
Okay. No, I'm wondering, like, on my end, do you see it like disappear and appear whenever I?
No, they don't see what you see. I think they have their own like
Okay.
UI that they would see.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Well, it wasn't a question. I was gonna say, thanks for like putting all this together and like the talking points and everything. You definitely are prepared. I appreciate that more than I am.
I just took last month's and I.
Well, when it first started, you were prepared. How about that? And you're just keeping it rolling now.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure that it is just the three of us. I mean, really, these events should just kind of run themselves. With the other projects that we have going on for membership, I'm putting a lot more time and effort into that.
Yeah.
Chris, do we know how many we have tonight?
There were 3 confirmed as of 5 p.m. Jade, are you able to access the Zoom account and see if any more individuals signed up for this, or if you know how to? If not, it's not a big deal.
Oh boy, you're asking a big favor here.
Do I ask small favors?
Oh boy. I don't know how to check our Zoom account without
No worries.
deleting all of you. So
Please don't do that. I would don't worry about it. There were 3 that were registered. I have Slack open up. I've put a bunch of notes in here, which I sent messages to Brandon, you, and Peter in Slack. That was just one of the suggestions that they gave on one of the HYP emails, was to try using Slack instead of the Zoom chat feature. So I thought I'd give it a whirl, see if people liked it, if they hated it. I don't have a preference one way or another.
Yeah, whatever works.
Because I don't. Brandon, are you able to access chat through here? Oh, here we go. It's probably because I'm presenting. There we go. It is.
Yeah, there's a couple different like panelists and attendees chats.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Chris, I have a friend who she said she is gonna join tonight. I don't know if she signed up or not. I mean, I guess you had to, so I guess she signed up. And she said her sister was gonna sit in on it too and watch. So that's kind of 3.5, 4 people now.
what's the over and under on whether or not we get more snow tonight?
Ugh.
I hope not. But I don't know the stats. That's something Chris would know, I feel like.
I hope not. How does that sound?
Sound like a paid meteorologist.
Thank you. Yeah, we actually didn't get as much as I thought we were going to get, and it didn't snow as much today as I thought that it was just throughout the whole day, which was good. So Brandon, have you sat in on one of these webinars before?
I have not. This is my first one.
Okay. So we're going to, the way that these work, we're going to encourage people to participate through the chat. They're not going to be able to have their videos on, and they're not going to be able to, or to have their mics unmuted. So it's pretty much going to be like the webinar that we had today with the DEI training.
Yeah, okay.
but we want to encourage people to have discussions in chat and just make sure that we're paying attention to that, because that's really the only medium that we have for people to do that. We can also encourage them to use the Q&A. So if they want to ask us questions, they can go that way. Most of the time, people just use the chat though. But
So I'll be
otherwise,
watching both the chat and the Q&A for you.
perfect. Thanks. Yeah, so I already posted. I got everything that AJ emailed as far as questions, so I got that taken care of. And that was what I just posted to the panelists on Zoom. And hopefully Peter shows up.
Did you text him or just email him about it?
Well, we were talking throughout the day here. I'm gonna give him a quick call.
Yeah, no, that's good. I was just making sure like you've talked to him recently, but he should be good then if you talk today, I would think.
He's hopping on. The man of the hour. Hey, long time no talk to, Peter.
Yeah, about a couple of seconds, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Peter.
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic.
So Peter, just to give you the heads up, in the panelist chat section, I dropped some of the insights that we got from the participants who did register. I also put that in the Slack as well too. That was one of the suggestions that HYP had sent out.
Yep.
Was using that. Sorry, go ahead.
I saw your thing on Slack.
Okay, cool. So that should give us some good starting points to talk. And then, yeah, hopefully it goes like the last one that you were on with me, where we can just get people chiming in on chat and just get some natural dialogue going on.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have confirmed participants for tonight?
There's 3 that were signed up as of 5 o'clock.
Cool. Okay. Perfect.
Jade, there isn't a wait room for the webinars, is there?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm watching our participants and I'm also watching our attendees, and I'm not seeing any notifications. So
okay,
everybody should be able to just come in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, even if we don't have anyone, I know that we're recording all these. And that can at least get posted. I don't know where AJ or marketing's posting these, but I think that was part of the idea, was that we could post these so people could view them later on as well. But we'll give it another couple minutes. I say 6:32. We just get started and go.
I'm fine with that.
Does anyone know how when you make this thing full screen, like if the camera, like our four segments can go on the top of the thingy? I'm looking at it, but it won't work when I go into full screen. I'll just drag it.
Yeah, I think if you just, can you drag the slider around?
That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I like it when it's better on the top because you can see everyone and the full presentation. When you go into full screen, it puts everyone on the side of the screen and it cuts off the presentation.
Ugh.
Everyone worked today?
Yep.
Okay, I figured. I mean, it's like what snow day? What snow day?
Yeah, it wasn't making a difference.
I'd really like to create a movement around the loss of snow days.
It's terrible. We used to look forward to that, all of us on this call. And now I'm like looking at the screen and it's like virtual learning day. I'm like, what's up with that?
Ugh.
Yeah, I really think we need to start petitioning for snow days again.
It's terrible. I was always a 2-hour delay guy. That was the best. I mean, the first 2 classes at Palmyra, we cut them short. So you were in there for like 20 minutes, then you went to lunch, and then you had 3 1-hour blocks after that. It was like you didn't even go.
Mhm. Yeah, those were good because you got full credit, but you didn't really do anything that whole day.
Yeah. You didn't have to make up the day.
Well, Rite Aid's always been very hesitant to not send us into the building, even in snow. They'd send us home at like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock if it was bad. But it had to be bad. And even though after that last time, whenever, gosh, all that traffic just backed up.
Yeah.
They were like, we're not going to do that again.
That was the worst.
I went to bed kind of banking on the fact that Members First would close today, but that didn't really mean that I had the day off because I've just been working remotely the entire time this has all happened. So I worked, but not really today. I did handle some stuff, but I woke up this morning and I was supposed to go to the gym with my trainer at 8 a.m. and he texted me at 6:10. They start at 4 o'clock. He texted me at 6:10 and goes, "Hey, we're closing early today at 8 a.m. So if you could reschedule to tomorrow or Saturday, that would be great." I'm like, dude, 8 a.m. closing like as early is just so far beyond my conceptualization. I was like, I can't even fathom that.
Yeah.
So
you guys ready to?
We have one attendee.
Oh.
Yeah, I see that we've got someone on. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining. We're actually just about ready to get started here. So I'll go ahead and kick things off. My name's Christopher Lukshik. I am the membership chair for Harrisburg Young Professionals. Thanks again, not only to the panelists and the experts that are here to talk to you about Harrisburg, but also to all the attendees that we have who are here and eager to learn, and everyone who's going to get to see this outside of just this live presentation here. So I'll go ahead and kick off and introduce everyone that we have. So I introduced myself already. I've been involved with Harrisburg Young Professionals for the past 2 years. I started off, it's actually been, this month is 2 years with HYP, 3 years with HYP, excuse me. Gosh, man, time really flies when you're having fun. So I'll go ahead and introduce Jade. She is showing up here as Harrisburg Young Professionals. And yeah, go ahead, Jade.
So good evening. I don't look nearly as good as I do in my photo on the screen, so we're just going to use that for the time being. But like Chris said, I'm Jade Honey. I'm a board member with Harrisburg Young Professionals, and I've lived in the Harrisburg area for the better half of 20 years. 10 of those years I spent in the city of Harrisburg as a city of Harrisburg resident. My husband and I reside just outside the city border, about 2.5 blocks back from the city line in Susquehanna Township. And I've been involved with the HYP, gosh, I think it's going on 4 years as a board member. So welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Peter, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself next?
Sure. My name is Peter Magoulas. I'm a board member and co-chair of the Arts and International Committee. I live in Palmyra, Pennsylvania, moved out of the area for about 5 years, lived in Philly after graduating from college and worked there for a little while. Job opportunity came available locally, and it just kind of felt like the right time to make the move and transition back. I'm really glad I did that with everything that's happened over the last year-ish. It would be pretty sad to live in Philly right now with nothing going on. What else did you ask, Chris?
So how'd you get involved in HYP?
Oh, okay, of course. So I got involved with HYP as soon as I moved back and took the job with Members First. A lot of the people in leadership and just the young professional area are members of HYP, encouraged highly that I join, and I'm very glad that I did. Met a lot of great people here. There's a lot of great opportunities to give back to the community, volunteer time, and also just make Harrisburg a better place, as our motto goes, to live, work, and play.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Peter. Certainly last but not least, we have Brandon Spangler. He is the Outreach Committee co-chair. He's also a colleague of mine at Rite Aid. So Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. You took a lot of my talking points there, but no worries. Yeah, so as Chris said, I'm chair of the Outreach Committee. This is my second year serving as the chair, and I've been an HYP member for a little over 2 years as well. And then as Chris said, I work for Rite Aid, local headquartered here in this area. I live in Camp Hill, about 5 minutes outside of the city, but still very connected with what happens in city limits as well. And what really drew me to join Harrisburg Young Professionals was because I moved here from out of town for my job at Rite Aid a few years back, and didn't really know many people here or what to do. And I've heard about HYP, so I decided to try it out by going to a new member social such as this. It just wasn't virtual. And I met a lot of cool people, and they told me to play sports and sign up for committees, get involved, and I did. And I'm glad I made that decision, because now I'm more ingrained in it and made a lot of great connections throughout the years.
Awesome. Brandon, thank you very much. And yeah, again, thank you guys so much for giving up some time on a Thursday evening to discuss HYP and just Harrisburg in general, what life's like in the city, how awesome it is to live here and work here as well too. So just a quick overview of what we're gonna talk about tonight. We're gonna cover a little bit about what Harrisburg Young Professionals is and living in the Harrisburg city. We're also going to be discussing the stuff that we do as HYP. And the important part comes in next. Just pick our brains with some of your questions, some of the stuff that you're interested in learning, both about Harrisburg, about HYP, and anything else that we can help answer. I mean, you're talking to the experts right here.
And just a quick reminder, if you want to drop your name and or where you live into the chat, or if you want to ask any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A.
Thank you so much for that, Jade. Yeah, we'd love to get anyone and everyone's participation. Use the chat, use the Q&A. Let's help you guys out. So just a quick overview about HYP. We were founded in 1998 by just a couple of people who lived in the city. They recognized the need for a young professionals organization within Harrisburg, and they started it with the mission that we're going to serve as a catalyst in making Harrisburg a better place to live, work, and play while developing and retaining future leaders. So all leadership serving in HYP is 40 years of age or younger. And we have currently 9 standing committees and 1 partnership committee. And we have served the community through numerous service projects and access to sports leagues, just to name a couple of things. And again, Brandon's going to be our expert for those service projects that we do tonight. So if you're curious in any way about how to get involved and make Harrisburg a better place by giving your time, Brandon's definitely the person to talk to on that. So just some real quick facts about Harrisburg City. I don't want to go over, spend a lot of time on this, but I do think it's really cool that we were just ranked number 7 real estate market for 2021 by Realtor.com. Our unemployment as of October 2019 was 3.4%. Median household income, 68,000. And then the median house prices for, this is actually the current from, the 2021, $262,000 and 5-year wage growth, 18.9%. So first, let's go to Brandon and Outreach Committee. Brandon, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so the Outreach Committee is really all about philanthropy and volunteering and giving back to the community, mostly through, as I said, like volunteering events, fundraising, supporting local charities, and just trying to make a difference for the underserved populations and helping them, get an upper hand through the support that we can give them. Some events that we do, every year we try to do a couple standard events, such as Habitat for Humanity we've worked for in the past, and we've typically done a charity 5-mile race where the proceeds from the participants goes towards local charities as well. The events that we're doing last year and this year going forward look a little different just because of our need to be virtual. But we have actually an exciting event happening right now. It's called the Restaurant Relief Week, where this whole week, starting today until next Thursday, anytime you eat in or get takeout from a restaurant in Harrisburg, just take a picture or scan a copy of your receipt. Then you would submit it to our outreach email, which I'm sure Chris will have linked for you at the end of this presentation. And then you'll be entered into a drawing to win some great prizes. So we're really excited about this because it not only supports eating at local restaurants that might be in need, which is something a lot of you are already probably doing. And it's very easy to participate. All you have to do is save a copy of your receipt, and then you'll be entered into the drawing. The prizes include a number of different gift baskets with gift cards to different local restaurants and businesses in the area. So, like I said, easy event to participate in, and it helps support our local restaurants. We are also in the midst of planning some other activities. It is hard to do in-person volunteering right now, but we're still working through that. And then later in the year, we're trying to do a little bit more of that. We also like to spotlight different charities in the area each week in our newsletter that you can sign up for. We spotlight a different charity so you can find a little more information about them and how they can be helped out. So that's really our focus in outreach, is, like I said, giving back and trying to find ways to help those local charities that may be in need.
Brandon, thank you so very much for that. I'm actually linking the receipts for restaurant relief right now into the chat for the participants.
Great, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, no problem. While I get that set up here, let's go ahead and move on to Peter and the Arts Committee. What do you got for us, Peter?
Sure. So we actually just met last night, so I do have quite a few things to share with you guys. Justine and I, when we took over as co-chairs a year ago, Arts and International was something that was pitched to us that we could kind of do what we wanted with it and make it what we chose. And we really decided to kind of take a broad look at arts and international. So about a year ago, actually, I think it was last February, we did a pasta making 101 event with a local business called Pastorante. They do all scratch-based pasta and dishes, and they are located on, if anybody wants to help me out, I'm blanking right now. But really awesome small business, and their owner is super passionate about what he does. I'm trying to pull them up right now. They're on 3rd Street, so kind of close to Broad Street Market, right around that area. Super passionate owner. We did an event with the Hill Society recently where we did cocktail making 101. That was last month. It was really well attended, and we're looking to get into a chakra and meditation event coming up that we have planned. We're going to kind of apply the international and also artistic aspect of chakra and meditation yoga to that event. We work with the Susquehanna Art Museum. We've done a couple events with them, and we are also trying to get some local artists engaged, as well as the Harrisburg Symphony Orchestra. So we do have a lot of cool stuff planned for the virtual calendar that we're anticipating using for the first half of this year. And then when we hit the second half of the year, we're hoping to be able to do some live in-person events, because that's really where you get the full experience. And are able to kind of dive into the subject matter firsthand.
And you know, Peter, apologies here too, because I was on the committee meeting with you guys yesterday. Actually, I left off half of the committee that you do, so it's not just the arts committee; it is the arts and international committee. And I know that that was one of the big discussion points was what kind of events that we can set up to spotlight the international organizations here within Harrisburg. So I know that you guys got a lot of cool stuff that you have the ability to do with that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Harrisburg's a really unique community because just speaking through my own heritage, I'm Greek, and there was a Greek congressman in the area, Congressman George Gekas, and he helped a lot of Greek Americans and immigrants in general relocate to this area, properly documented, you know, the right way. And he had a really huge success with bringing the Greek American community to this area, but just other international communities as well. So there is a pretty deeply rooted international community here, more so than most people realize, but it's here and it's definitely very lively.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So let's get to some of the questions that you guys have about HYP and Harrisburg City. I'll get this kicked off here. So a couple of the questions that we had already asked prior to this. What are you excited to learn about Harrisburg young professionals? One of the first questions was programs and activities in and around the city that I can volunteer at. Peter, I'm going to actually let you get started on this one, and Brandon, Jade, if you guys have anything that you want to add after Peter, please feel free to just pop right on in.
Yeah, so we do, we always have charitable activity and stuff that we promote through the organization. That's the best way to find all of that is on our main webpage under the events section. Forester Street Cleanup is a huge initiative that we do every year. The Italian Lake Concert Series is something that my colleague Justine and I are trying to work on figuring out details. Are we going to be able to do it at the Italian Lake in person the way it used to be last year? Unfortunately, we had some pretty big ideas and grand plans as to what we wanted to do with it to try to kind of revitalize and repackage it so that a younger crowd and audience attended, as well as everybody else in the city. Unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to do that last year, but we are really trying to get a good program put together for this year. That's a 2 to 3 month series over the summer months, so June, July, and August. I know at this point we're definitely looking at doing June and July. just to try and focus our energy on 2 events rather than 3. But if we get 1 done, we're going to be really excited about it. I don't really know of any others off the top of my head. If Jade and Brandon want to jump in, feel free. But those are the ones that stick out most to me. If anybody else wants to jump in.
Yeah, I those are all great, Peter. Examples of things we've done in the past and are looking to do something similar again in the future. I know that so sometimes the outreach committee, we like to promote some different other volunteer operations that are happening that we might not necessarily be involved in organizing, but we still want to get the word out about them, such as different local food banks and shelters that might need people to come in and help pack boxes of food or hand them out, or just anything that they could use a couple extra hands with. We will definitely volunteer people if we can, or if not, spread the word so others can volunteer. A cool example of something we did get to do at the end of last year in a safe, socially distant manner was the reverse Harrisburg parade, where on City Island, the normal parade floats, I guess you would call them, that were set up and that go through the city were actually stationed on City Island, and then people had the chance to drive around City Island and view them from their cars, so they could still get the experience of seeing the parade floats that people worked hard on, but it's socially distant. And myself and a couple other outreach committee members helped with setting them up and then directing traffic and just anything they needed the day of to ensure that event went smoothly. So we definitely look for opportunities whenever we can to give back and help support Harrisburg.
I were to unmute myself, wouldn't it? Just to kind of reiterate onto what Brandon was saying, one of the best volunteer organizations that I've found during COVID with the Harrisburg area is the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. They take care of all the procedures, processes. They have a huge standard operating procedure in place just to make sure that the participants who are volunteering there are staying healthy, and that they're also able to get food out to the people who need it the most in the area. And it's a ton of fun to just go over there, get involved in a line, and start packing. I'm gonna post a link to them in the chat here. And while I do that, let's go on to we've kind of touched on this here a little bit, but ways to serve in the community. Brandon, do you know any other good ways that people can not only just volunteer but to become a servant in the Harrisburg area?
Yeah, there's a lot of great nonprofit organizations around that some we partner with and some we don't as much, but there's like Big Brothers Big Sisters and Girls on the Run. I can't think of a lot of them off the top of my head, but like a lot of those organizations that might be bigger name that you might be familiar with, we've sometimes done work in the past and they're always looking for more help as well. Just I think like any organization that you have an interest in, whether it's children, working with children, animals, the elderly, homeless, any of the above, there's probably an organization out there that might work with them and help get involved, and we definitely encourage that. Even if they're not a partner of ours, the more help the merrier.
Jade, what about you? Do you have any other suggestions for? Oh, I see you're already posting it right here in the chat for us.
Yeah, so I was just putting it in the chat, but there's always the YMCA, the YWCA. Habitat for Humanity is really prevalent in Harrisburg. Bethesda Mission does an amazing job at providing services for the homeless. The Dauphin County Library System is always looking for volunteers. I think the era of COVID has obviously changed a little bit of that, but there's still an opportunity to volunteer in many organizations across Harrisburg, including the Arts Association. So I would just say, whatever strikes your heart the most, there's definitely an organization in Harrisburg that you could volunteer in.
And just to kind of piggyback off of what Jade said real quick, if there is a cause or an organization or something that you're formally affiliated with wherever you may come from, or if you're local and you're like, oh, okay, I don't see HYP as a direct connection to them, like published on the website. We have relationships everywhere, and our membership pretty much represents everything that is Harrisburg. So if you're interested in something, it's usually just like 1 degree of separation to get to where you want to go. So rely on people who have been in HYP for a while, or the board, or just leadership, and say, hey, you know, here's what I'm thinking. Do we participate? Do we have a relationship? Or is this, you know, service available in the area? And 9 times out of 10, if we're not directly affiliated, we know someone who is. So if something is, you know, close to your heart, or it's a passion of yours, and you don't think that we have a direct connection to it, we probably do. It's just not advertised. So definitely rely on, you know, Chris, Brandon, Jade, myself, other people who you might come across that are, you know, HYP seasoned experts, and just say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Can you connect me? And if they don't know, they know somebody who does.
And I would jump in and say the same really stands for, you know, career opportunities. If you're looking for an individual that works at XYZ company, or has a connection at, you know, a company in the Harrisburg region, you know, the best part, in my opinion, about HYP and becoming a member is that professional development connection, and being in front of the movers and shakers of some of the major corporations in Harrisburg.
Yeah, you know, one of the really cool things that came out of last month's webinar, there was a gentleman and his wife. They live in Ohio. They actually tuned into this webinar about HYP. They were considering Harrisburg among several other cities to relocate to during this pandemic. And they were really curious about Rite Aid, which is where I happen to work at. And because of my networking through HYP, I was able to not only help this person out with some questions about a few positions at Rite Aid, but I actually got them in touch with one of the directors over at Rite Aid as well, too, who happens to be a former HYP president, Joe. And I know that everyone on here knows Joe Turtel. But it was really cool for that individual. I mean, he was thinking that just getting to talk to me was going to be awesome. And, you know, to put him up with senior management, it was a really cool experience for everyone involved. And I was really happy to be able to facilitate that. So let's kind of move on. Let's talk about some fun stuff here. So a couple of the favorite places, activities, or local businesses that the participants here had stated that they have been to within the last 12 months. Radish and Rye Food Hub, Cork and Fork, which came with a note that it has great food and atmosphere, and the Paxtang Grill. What are some other places that the panelists here have that they enjoy going to within Harrisburg?
I can start, I guess. There's too many good places to name, I would say, but one of my favorite local restaurants right in the middle of downtown is McGrath's. Is an Irish pub. They have awesome food and awesome atmosphere as well, I would say. And if you're down there, if you walk out on the sidewalk, you can see probably 10 different restaurants from that point. So there's so many different options. Kind of going back to what Peter said about different cultures represented in the city. Any country you can think of, there's probably a restaurant somewhere in Harrisburg that serves their food. So that's definitely something that I enjoy about living here. And just other activities. There's a lot of nice parks and trails. Maybe you can't enjoy them as much right now when we're covered in snow, but normally if you go for a walk on the Greenbelt Trail, which down the river around sunset, it's amazing. So if you're into like nature, things like that, there's a lot of opportunity as well.
I'll tell you what, if you want what I think are the best chicken wings in the area, a Midtown Tavern has them.
Yes, baby.
Yeah.
They sure.
Go ahead, Peter.
Just to piggyback, and I know I'm going to steal, and I apologize, Chris and Jade, I'm stealing two of yours, but Cafe Fresco is fantastic. love the cuisine there. The food, the drinks are always good. Lunch is very different than dinner, which I also love because you can go in and you can get a quick lunch there, in and out. Dinner is whatever you want it to be. If you want to be quick in and out, you can. If you want to sit and just have an amazing dinner, you can. Note Bistro and Wine Bar is incredible. They have some awesome specials. I think it's Wednesday night. They offer BYOB, but they do a $10 or a $5 cork on the bottle, which is still pretty reasonable to bring into a place that has a liquor license. Sammy's right across from the Capitol is one of my favorite restaurants. I'm a foodie. My family's in the restaurant business, so I love food. Philo in the Broad Street Market is incredible for Greek food. My cousin owns the Midtown Tavern. That is fantastic late night, fantastic drinks. Just a no frills kind of bar environment. Tap House is amazing. Sturgis Speakeasy. I haven't been to most of these places in like over a year. I'm just trying to go off of the list of places where I'm like, I want to go to those as soon as I can. The only other place I would want to just kind of give a quick plug to, and I know they're not in city proper, they're just across the bridge in Lemoyne, but there is a high-speed go-kart track that you can have the time of your life at just across the bridge in Lemoyne. It's a perfect adult competitive environment if you want to go with a couple of your friends and just be like, you know, whoever's going to win tonight and take the track is going to get all the bragging rights. That's an awesome spot. But
That's Audubon, isn't it?
it is Autobahn. Yep, you're right,
Yeah.
Chris. But my favorite thing about Harrisburg, and I'm a political science major, but I ended up in the banking and finance world, is the Capitol. I think the Capitol is the coolest thing we have to offer. I'm also looking to try and work with my local state representative to see if he could hook us up with some guided tours with a member of the assembly, because when you go in with a member of the assembly, you can end up on the floor and in some other areas that you otherwise wouldn't be allowed to go to with just the normal guide. But it's an incredible building, and just to be able to think like that building was constructed when it was constructed with the resources that you could construct it with, it's mind-blowing. And I think that's the coolest thing we have in the area to see and go to and visit and just take the history. And because every time you go, you learn something new.
So I'll jump in and say that Little Lamps, I've been going there since the day they opened their doors. And I don't brew anything else in my house other than Little Lamps. So they're pretty amazing for a coffee shop. Also, Peter knows that I would live at Note if they would let me. So they have a really great menu and really intimate environment for just a really good bottle of wine. I also quite enjoy Char's, which is kind of a newer addition to the city of Harrisburg. It's actually located in the original building for Harrisburg Hospital, which many people don't know that, fun fact, but they have a really nice porch. And so in the summertime, it's just a lovely dinner outside on the porch overlooking the river of Harrisburg. So it's just lovely. But there's so much fun stuff to do in Harrisburg, you know, and I think one of the things I love most about Harrisburg is you can be involved in as much as you'd like to be involved in. There are so many things that you can do. There are so many organizations that you can volunteer with, but there's also, you know, there's a limited variety. If you wanted to just hang out at the bookstore and have a cup of coffee and just, you know, peruse Broad Street Market. So, you know, I've never felt like I needed to do something every single weekend. And I also love, you know, from living downtown for 10 years, I love that you can pretty much walk to anything. And I love that Peter brought up the Midtown Tavern, because actually in the really terrible snowstorm we had back in 2011, we retreated to the Midtown Tavern as the only establishment that was open in the snowstorm. We trekked through a couple feet of snow to have wings and beer, because that was the only thing that was open and that had electricity. So just some really great establishments and just some real great fun to have in the city of Harrisburg.
One of the things that really kind of took me by surprise is just how many good coffee shops there are within the Harrisburg area, between the Midtown Scholar, Little Lambs. I can't remember the other one that's
Elementary.
Yes, Elementary. That's what it is, because they have both at the market and then right over by the Capitol as well too. But even Cafe Fresco, that's a place, they have a dedicated coffee bar there as well. I mean, there's
Isn't there that Yellow Bird that's like right across
Yep.
next to Midtown Scholar? Yeah.
you just I would think that in a city the size of Harrisburg, that you'd have a lot of more corporate coffee shops that are going in there, and really I don't think there's a Dunkin' Donuts that, well, at least I can't think of one that's in Harrisburg proper.
I don't even think there's a Starbucks, is there? There used to be one at the Whitaker
Crown Plaza.
Okay, yeah. That's okay, so it's still there.
Okay, so but just one, and I mean the rest of it's dominated by indie coffee shops. I think that's so cool, how non-commercialized Harrisburg really is, because there's really not even a whole lot of chain fast food restaurants in Harrisburg. A lot of it's mom and pop shops that are just doing quick food. There's that new barbecue place that opened up too, that's really good. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to look it up here.
Is that on 2nd Street?
Yeah, it's in Midtown. It's
Yeah,
also a Black-owned business too, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
And breweries too. I mean, like there is literally like whatever you want, you're gonna find it. Like they have 0 Day. Harris Family Brewery is up and coming in Harrisburg. Just around the Harrisburg area, you have Evergreen, which is literally right across from us. Trogs and Hershey. I mean, there is so much going on, and I think it came after a kind of like Chris was, I think, alluding to, a culture of like the corporate businesses didn't, and the franchises, I don't know, like they do market surveys and stuff. I don't know if they didn't think it would be right to come in, or opportunistic. And I think a lot of the businesses that stemmed and grew over the years are ones that just like, if they're not going to come in and do it, we'll do it for ourselves. And they've found themselves to be very profitable. They are very well received, and they have a huge following. I mean, I would much rather support, somebody that I know, or somebody that I know, like that they live locally, rather than go to, Starbucks. If I'm in the city, I always go to Little Lambs or Elementary. It's the mindset around here.
Yeah, and it's a great mindset, and it's one of the things that I love about Harrisburg, which leads us to our next question. So both Peter and Brandon are individuals who moved here from areas where they didn't know too much about Harrisburg, just based on their introductions. So if you're someone that's new to the Harrisburg area, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting to either they're looking to move here, or they've just recently moved here? Brandon, why don't you kick this one off?
All righty, I'll do that, Chris. So I guess obviously the first point is definitely join HYP, or at least attending this webinar is a good idea. If we're in person, I would say go to a new member social, go to an event, join sports leagues as well. A lot of people might not necessarily be as interested in the networking or volunteering, but like they really like sports, and that's another way to meet a lot of cool people and stay active. And then just in general, be open to exploring and trying new things. I have a funny story actually about a friend who she had moved here a while back. She was here for a few months, and I reached out. This was before the pandemic. I reached out and said, "Hey, you want to go out for lunch or something?" And she's like, "Yeah." And like, well, what? I mean, I can definitely recommend places, but what have you seen so far? Like, what places do you like to go? And she's like, "Well, I've only really ever been to Aruga's," which no shade on Arugas, that's a nice place, but there's so many options, and that was the only one she ever tried just because she was comfortable with it, and she knew that they had good food there, so she kept going there. But I just encouraged her to try other places. There's so many options out there. You could eat somewhere different every day for a year probably. So be open to that, and just Google places or get on Yelp, whatever, to find new experiences, and I don't think you'll regret it.
Peter, you have anything to follow up with that?
Yeah, so like I said, I grew up in this area. I was born and raised in Palmyra my whole life. Moved to Philly for college and worked there for about 5 years. And when this opportunity came available to come back to the area, my biggest hesitation was my friends, my network, the relationships that I built, leaving that all behind. And one of the people who I was talking to in the recruitment process for my job, his name's Mike Wilson. A lot of HYP people know that name. He gave a lot to the organization when he was an active member. And he said, like, no problem, no sweat. HYP will help you fill that gap. You probably have some friends who are still in the area, but things change, people change, but this organization will really make you fruitful with relationships, contacts, just the whole 360. And I was like, okay, well, the young professional organizations in Philly, I never joined them because that's a large city. It's really hard to get involved, dialed in, but this is a really close-knit group of people who look out for each other, want to help each other, and just overall want to make the community a better place to live, work, and play. It's not a cheesy motto. It's a realistic motto, and it's simple, but it works. And that's why I decided to join. And the more I got involved, the more I took on, just the opportunities presented themselves. And I'm very happy to be a part of this organization. I'm happy to contribute to it, and I will continue to contribute to it until I'm probably 40 years old. And after that point, I'll be that old, creepy dude trying to get people drinks and talk about the good times at the bar.
Peter, I'm getting pretty close to that age myself, so I I'm hoping that I don't get quite the creepy old guy.
HYP, when it was my time, you don't even know how we made it happen during Corona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that so both of you guys brought up really cool points. Brandon, I think your point about just even getting involved with HYP for sports. I went in. I played on a sports team last year for kickball. I only knew myself, Joe Turtel, who from Rite Aid. He started up a team with Rite Aid, which consisted of 3 of us. Why you didn't join, I don't know. I guess you already had a better team.
I wouldn't say better, but different team.
Well, you did finish ahead of us, but shh. Yeah, I mean the rest of the team consisted of people that I never met, never knew, and it couldn't have been a friendlier atmosphere getting out there and playing sports. Were we competitive? Yes, but at the end of the day, whenever we'd all go out to the sponsor bar at the end, I met so many people who were members of HYP that I had maybe interacted with once or twice at different events, but it was so cool to be able to meet them in an atmosphere that wasn't in such a high professional setting where we could have fun, we could talk much more casually, and it was awesome. I had such a great time doing that. Peter, even to your point, too, getting involved with HYP and networking with people who've been involved in this organization for even longer than I've been in the area here. It's so cool to just get those people's insights, their experience, and to hear their stories about how HYP impacted them and how it is that they have the careers that they have thanks to HYP. Even for myself, Brandon and I worked in the same building prior to COVID, and I don't think I ever would have met him if it wasn't for HYP. So I think
And to
that
piggyback off of that, Chris, I would even say that maybe Jade, you can check me on this, but like 6 or 7 out of 10 people who are in like a position of power or a decision maker in whatever their discipline or organization is, they probably went through HYP. If they're there now, it's not that HYP was the 100%, contributing factor, end all be all to their success, but it definitely helps. And I think, like I said, Jade can check me on that, but I think a lot of people who are in positions of power, decision makers, shakers and movers in this area definitely came through HYP ranks.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong on that stat. And the nice part is that many of them still return to a lot of the events that we, have. So back in the normal days when we had normal events, you could run into the head of Members First, or you could run into the head of the Hilton or UPMC or Penn State Health. You could you could literally be in the same room, and they're so down to earth and really looking to network with folks. So it's definitely a benefit to be a member and attend our events.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other things that I want to kind of plug in here as well too, even for someone like myself who's lived in central Pennsylvania his whole life, the Historic Harrisburg organization is putting on a webinar this coming Monday. Let me double check that date here. Yeah, so February 22nd, 6 to 7 o'clock. And the whole presentation is about the Underground Railroad in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I think that this is going to be really cool, because I never really even thought about Harrisburg as a destination in the railroad like that. But even just aside from this, Harrisburg has so much history about it. And one of the other gentlemen who was with us last month, he such a wealth of knowledge for all the history, like talking about how the Dock Street Dam was really the starting point for Capona Fest, which I thought was really cool. I never knew that. I don't know if anyone has any other interesting facts to add to that, but that was just kind of my rant.
No, I mean, like, the region itself in general is rich in history if you're into that sort of thing. And I'm not going to bore anybody with history lessons right now, but I mean, you have Gettysburg right here, as Chris mentioned. The Underground Railroad played a huge part in this area. It just immigration in general. A lot of people that made their way to New York during heavy periods of migration ended up here in Harrisburg and set their familial roots and just kind of grew a new life in Harrisburg. It's a really rich area for culture, for art, for entertainment. You just kind of have to know where to look for it, and this is a really great place to start for that. Like I said, it's literally 1 degree of separation for anything you're looking at. As long as you contact one of us and say, hey, this is what I'm interested in, I'm not seeing anything about it, we know who to put you with, and say this person is interested in that, or this person really volunteers a lot of their time with X. It's so well connected, and the network is really fantastic. The only thing that's pulling us back is the pandemic and COVID and not being able to interact in person, which is where the relationship really benefits you and flourishes. But we're doing our best to make up for everything that's going on with the times and programming, and hopefully come the summer months we can really get some of the in-person stuff cooking again, to where it's the in-person aspect as well as the information.
And you're absolutely right about that, Peter. There's just within HYP alone, I mean, you can really, I mean, there's no limit to what you're going to learn, who you're going to meet. Yeah, even just within 1 degree of separation, let alone the people that you're just going to meet right there one-on-one. And I'm really excited about this organization and the quality of people that we have. I'll tell you, just myself, I was personally nervous about joining, just thinking about high school and how cliquey some things get. And I was so blown away that every single person that I met who's actively involved in HYP takes an interest in every single person who is either a member, interested in becoming a member, or just doesn't know where to start with Harrisburg. And I think that that's absolutely incredible. So we're getting to the end here. I just want to give one more shout out. If anyone has any questions and wants to have them addressed, now's your chance to put them into the chat, and we'll get those taken care of before we wrap up here. But we are going to go ahead and move on for the time. Again, we'll still take those questions. So just make sure that you guys do stay in touch with us. I've got everyone's email address on here. So if you have any questions about membership for Harrisburg Young Professionals, you can drop a line to membership@hyp.org. Brandon, you can reach him at outreach@hyp.org. And Peter and his co-chair Justine, you can reach them at arts@hyp.org. As it does say here, you'll be receiving a copy of this presentation. The copy that you'll actually be receiving will have a little bit more information in it as well too. I didn't want to take away from the awesome discussion that we had tonight in favor of some more slides. But just some quick little facts here that'll be included with them. And if you have any interest in any of the other committees or want to get in touch with them, we have that list on here as well. Does anyone else from the panel have anything that they want to add before we wrap up?
No, I'll just throw my personal email address in the chat here. If anybody has any specific questions, like industry related, restaurant, banking, otherwise, or if you just want to hit me up for anything in general, my personal email is in there. Happy to help anybody out on the call with getting connected to where they want to be, or if there's something that we missed and you don't feel like asking the question publicly, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you out and get you to where you want to go.
Awesome, Peter. Thank you very much. That's extremely generous on that. I'll go ahead and drop my personal email out here as well too for everybody. All right, well, I don't see any other questions coming in at the moment. So Brandon, Peter, I just want to give both of you guys a big thank you. I really appreciate your time this evening getting involved with this. Jade, thank you so much for not only being a part of this panel, but also handling all of the back end work on this. It was fantastic. You did a great job. I'm so happy to be working with you on this. And for everyone that's here participating, thank you again for coming out. And if you have any questions, we're here to help. So just don't hesitate to reach out. All right, guys. Well, again, thanks so much for coming out. And we can't wait to see you at another virtual event coming up here in the future. So have a great night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks. See ya.